Hello, hello, people. How's it going, everybody? I know this is quite a random time, uh, to be starting stream, but I felt like streaming, so I felt like I should, captivate on this random burst of motivation that I got. Hello, Diahog. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Hmm? How is everybody doing? Hello, Dwarf, my beloved. Oh, Flare and Corp, don't worry about it. Streams pop up and disappear randomly, so there'll always be one that you catch. A nice time for me, 12 o'clock. Good. Convenient for some, I guess. But yeah, as you can probably notice, there are a few things on screen. The one that I want to point your attention to first is the bottom right. As you might be able to tell, I have gotten some very nice progress on the. I guess I'll hesitantly, or call it PNG tuber that I am making. He's not done. He's not done. Like done, but he's getting there, right? The rendering part, like all of his details and stuff like that, are done. But as you might be able to see, the candle isn't lit. That's the last thing I need to do is light up his candle, and that means every unique frame that I have to make a two variations of a light flicker flame for, which might be a lot of work or might be a little bit of work. I'm not sure yet because I haven't started. But that's going to be interesting, right? And obviously he's not responding to when I speak, and he's just doodling away. When the finished version is done, then it's gonna be moving and changing poses as well when I'm talking, which will hopefully make it look more alive. But if you want to look at him more closely, here you go. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm very proud of the rendering, honestly. I must say it is probably one of my best rendered drawings I've done to date. Some heavy dark wood inspiration, as you might be able to tell. But yeah, I'm very happy with that. It's what you're working on in call? Yes, I've been working on it in random places, honestly. On stream some, not on stream some, in some calls privately or other servers, just randomly. He's breathing. Oh yeah, he is breathing. But yeah, let me stuff him back in his corner. There you go. Okay, and another thing you might be able to notice is what I'm currently drawing, which is a dwarf. Not just any dwarf, a crouching dwarf. But not just any crouching dwarf. I've had a little bit of talking with perhaps a company called Merchcraft. And we might be getting a figure, boys. We might be getting a figure of a dwarf. And I must say, I am incredibly excited. And obviously, jumping on the opportunity, the first thing I thought of is to make a figure of the crouching dwarf, which that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Um, so basically they reached out and were like, "Hey, you want to make a figure?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's make a figure." And then I was like, the first thing that popped into head is like crouching dwarf figure. That's something I want, and I hope you guys would want as well. Because like the dwarf is probably the most recognizable thing I've done on the channel, so having a figure of that guy would be wonderful. And luckily, it's not that I'm just working with them to make a figure, but also the person who is modeling the 3D model for making the figure. By the way, the figures when they're sold, are not going to be just like 3D printed and stuff. They're actually going to be like molded with I think it was called polystone or something, like the proper stuff you make, like collectible figures out of. So it ain't gonna be a dainty little 3D model thing. You can stuff this into a jar all you want, but please don't. But still, you could. Um, so yeah, but the person modeling it is gonna be Cameron Bai, the same person who modeled the first dwarf model that I had on Patreon. So I'm confident that it is gonna come out very, very snazzy looking, because he did an amazing job on the first dwarf. So this one's gonna come out bussin' as well. Will it be articulated? That is gonna be like another layer of complication that would be really hard to do. No, he will not be articulated. It's just gonna be a little guy you can put on your desk if you want, of course. Already looks like a jar? Yes. So, if you're wondering why I'm doing this stream, it's because, well, you might be able to tell, there ain't no patterns on him. We're gonna be playing around with some patterns and trying to see what's the best pattern we can put on this guy. Because obviously I can only choose one pattern for the manufacturing, right? So what I was thinking was, I'll make multiple, and then just have you guys choose which one you like most. And if you're interested, I mean, okay, what do you think about this? I make some patterns, right? But what about if, like, I just give you guys this image and you can try putting some patterns on him as well? And then we can have, like, a thing in the server maybe, or on YouTube, to see who likes what pattern most. And then we go with that one maybe? Would that be interesting? I'm just throwing stuff out there. Colorable. The models are going to be hand painted. So that's gonna look very nice. I mean, okay, look, they are hand painted, right? They're finished figures. They're not gonna be blank. But like, if you buy them and then you wanna, like, just paint over it again, I mean, I wouldn't complain about that. You can, if you've bought it, you can do whatever you like with it. I don't mind. You could definitely try and paint over it. I mean, honestly, I'm tempted to do it myself if I get my hands on one of them. Do you draw on paper? Yes, sometimes I draw on paper as well. If there's multiple, why not some random variation? Well, Diahog, you know how manufacturing works, right? Like, they have a mold. Like, I don't think I can get multiple random variations of a dwarf. That would be even more expensive to get more variations. Let me dream. Fair enough. Hold on, I gotta pull up the chat on my phone so I can actually talk and draw at the same time. Oh. Have you decided on the pose yet? Are you even looking at the screen? Or do I have it turned off or something? I mean, you can see the guy on the stream, right? I hope so. Um, hey Simon, thanks so much for shouting out my channel on your YouTube. Oh shit, Rick's Creation. Hey, what's up? Uh, Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, I saw your latest video and it looked fucking awesome, by the way. So of course I wanted to like shout it out. Yeah, hold on, hold on. I'm getting everything mixed up right now. Okay, I can look through my phone now. Okay. But yeah, everybody in chat, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, I shared it on the Discord. There's a link to Rick Creation's video, so be sure to check that out. He does some awesome stuff, by the way. Like the he uses like real life. I'm worried I'm using the wrong terms by the way. Real life. He uses real life footage, and then I don't know how he does it, but he like puts fantasy backgrounds seamlessly into them somehow. So he's just standing there on a cliff looking out to a fucking fantasy landscape somehow, or like these cool panning shots up a giant sheer cliff that is in like with birds and clouds moving and shit. It's crazy. So yeah, be sure to like just look at that stuff cuz that's some awesome inspiration right there you can take from. I mean I mean I say take from I looked at the video and I have no idea how he did any of them, so I don't know if I could take anything from it, but it's definitely awe-inspiring to look at. Thank the master of matte painting. Hmm. Left him a sub to look at later. Good, good. But yeah, I guess what we're gonna do now is we're gonna play around with some patterns for these guys. Oh, right. Do you want me to plop this into do you want me to plop this into the Discord to perhaps so other people can play around with the patterns a little bit too? In case you want to. It's up to you. Not guaranteed that I'm going to use it or anything. Please don't get your hopes up. But if there's like some interesting things you get going, I might consider, you know? Yeah. Let's see. Do we want a transparent background? I'll give it to you as a transparent background, all right? Because then you can just slap it on anything and then start playing around with the... How about a hexagon patterns? Hold on, no suggestions yet. Let me get this first, and then we'll start playing around with some things. Where did I just save that? Oh, here. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the Monster Garden chat. You know, just the Monster Garden chat in the server. The one that's in the Monster Garden category, the monster chat that's above the fan art. That's where I'm gonna put him, okay? I'll pin him as well, just in case he, like, disappears off the face of the earth or whatever. So if you want him, he'll be in there. There you go. Let me pin him. Give the dwarf. He's right there. Take him. Please tell me they sleep in that position. Oh yeah, they do sleep in that position, of course. Anyway, once again, what are we doing? Figures like reference poses, toy figurines. It's gonna be this. Like this thing right here that you're looking at is gonna turn into a figure. Carry them like a barrel. I mean, you could, if they're sleeping like this, you know what you could theoretically do? You could just quickly like tie a rope around them before they wake up, and then they would just be stuck like that, pretty much, right? So then you could just take them. But yeah, hold on. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna turn on the lights. It's getting dark in here. But yeah, just to get like a general idea of things, by the way, because I'm really excited about it. But what do you guys think about this, by the way? Are you down with the idea of having a figure of him like crouching like this? Would that be good? Because I was thinking if it does go well and we like do sell an amount of figures that is worthwhile, then like it'd be great to like keep working with them and stuff to make more perhaps. But that's, you know, thinking far into the future. However are they? Okay, listen. When it comes to like the exact size or stuff like that, I don't have anything yet because, well, of course, I'm working on the drawing that is going to be turned into a 3D model. So we don't know exactly yet how heavy it's going to be. Well, hold on. I'll explain a little more in a bit. Let me just save this for a sec. Okay. But basically I'm working on the drawing right now. Then after the drawing is done, I don't think the pattern has to be a thing right away, right? So after the drawing is done, like this, I send it to Cameron. He's gonna start modeling it, and in that time we can like choose which pattern is perfect, and then send that over to him as well for him to turn into a pattern. Then, if we get the 3D model done, we'll get a, you know, we got to do like tests of the thing to see if it comes out well or not, and then we move on from there with like other things, of course. But yeah, let's play around with patterns a little bit. First of all, I think a good start would be just to do the sort of average pattern that I've always thought of for the dwarves, which is sort of the equally distant lines like snaking around the body. So we'll play around with that first, all right? And then see where we can go. Hello from Sweden. Otis is glad to be here. I'm glad Otis is here. Kind of coming from the what would they taste like thing. What would a person eating a dwarf be considered cannibalism? Excuse me? What the fuck? Huh? I would, I mean, it wouldn't be cannibalism as they're a completely different species, but it would still be very wrong. Like, I don't think anybody would be okay with you, uh, munching a dwarf, you know? I think that'd be quite a bit of a no-no right there. Have people ever tried waking a dwarf up? I don't expect dwarves to like sleep out in the open where you could just walk towards them and try to wake them up very often. Like they'd probably be sleeping in very, seclude like in their they wouldn't be sleeping on in the outside like just randomly. So yeah, some sort of pattern like this is pretty much what I expect like a basic dwarf to have, but then of course we should play around a lot more with patterns to see what we can come up with. Do they sleep in a hole in the dirt like first night of Minecraft? No, they have a kingdom. They have like a giant civilization underground. There you go, something like that. I think the back is gonna be the main part we can play around with patterns on because it's like the largest area. Well, also the top of the head, I guess. Um, so we can play around a lot with how those look. What if dwarves are carved by... Maybe. Um, how well do they stack, like, on top of each other? Can I make a dwarf tower? I was thinking about that. If you could perhaps make a dwarf tower. As, like, if I make if we could make the figure... Like, I was thinking about this, by the way. Don't get your hopes up. I don't know if it is possible or not. But if we could make it so the figure has, like, a divot in the bottom, so instead of just being a flat bottom, it sort of indents like that. Because then you could technically stack them on top of each other. You could technically stack them on top of each other. Because obviously, realistically or fantastically in the world itself that we're designing, dwarfs don't have a divot in their ass, right? But like because it's a figure, they'd have to have that to be able to like stack them on top of each other. But I'd say in the world, like in the monster garden, you could possibly stack them. I don't think they'd like it. I don't think they'd be pleased with being stacked, but you could. Concaved ass. Put magnets in there so they stick to each other. Now you're talking genius right there. That's your genius talking right there. I think you've just ascended to another plane of existence. Put magnets. That is awesome. I don't know if they could do that. I think that's pushing it. I think that's definitely pushing it. I mean, it the easiest thing that we could do would be having a peg and a hole, obviously. But like that would look off if there's a hole in a dwarf's head or like a peg coming out of their head. That would look weird, right? If you're not stacking them. Dwarf Lego. Otis was stacked once. It was horrid. Yeah, exactly. I know. I know it was, buddy. Doesn't matter if they're pleased. I'd be pleased. Hey, that's cruelty right there. You're not considering them as other sentient beings. You're just caring about your own satisfaction. That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Um, with their feet and butt around the circumference, I'd assume they'd be room. They'd be room. There'd be room. Oh, sorry, a crack in my phone was blocking that part of the word. They'd be room. There'd be room. What the fuck is that? Um, right. I guess there would be room. You can make that happen. You might have to 3D print it to test it. Magnets could work but you would have to also put a magnet on the bottom, magnet on the top of his head. No shit. I know I would like. I didn't forget how magnets work. Yes, there would have to be. If anybody in chat doesn't know how magnets work, if we put magnets in them, we'd have to put one at the bottom and then another one at the top, right? Because that's how they work, and then they want to attract each other. Yeah, but I mean, like, because they're casted, right? The concern that I have is because they're casted, which means there's a mold, and then they pour some shit into it, and then bam, there comes your dwarf come out of the mold. I don't know if you could put a magnet in that before casting it or in the casting process. Perhaps. I don't know. I said don't get your hopes up. I'll ask them though, because that's an interesting idea. I'll ask them. Hey, Ong, I am winning. I am winning. Have the head come off like a lid. Again, I don't know if we can do that. We'll have to see. Because, like, okay, listen. It's fun to have a little dwarf miniature on your desk. Yes, I'd say there's value in that. But if you could have a dwarf miniature that has another function on your desk, that's ballin' right there. If you could have a dwarf miniature that opens up and you can hide some little stuff inside the dwarf, that's awesome, right? It would allow the magnets to fit inside. You know what? You're actually right. If we make it hollow inside, then you could just have a divot in the inside at the top of the lid and the inside at the bottom of the thing, right? And you could just put the magnets in. Holy shit. Dude, again, fucking ascending to another realm of intelligence here. You're thinking in the 5th dimension, my man. You skipped the 4th. You skipped the 3rd and the 2nd and the 1st. Fucking 5th dimension right here. My man's flying up into the fucking stratosphere. Holy shit. Yes, if we have like a hollow thing like this, we could just add a divot in here and then just put the magnet in there. And then in the lid, like that, we could just do that. My God. Genius. Stay away from Otis's noggin. Unless you have a, drippy hat and clothing and pumped up kicks. Great creators should draw that. Draw Otis with pumped up kicks? My goodness. I mean, that'd be so stupid. If I finally get the figure out and you guys can buy them, and then we have a dripped out dwarf competition, pimp your dwarf. You send in your dwarfs kitted out with the best drip you can find. That would be stupid. I would love that. I don't know. That's just pimp my dwarf. Would dwarf like pancakes? They'd have to be like really strongly flavored pancakes, but I'd say like they put all too much syrup on them, way too much syrup on them, right? But I think they would like pancakes. They would definitely like pancakes. Have the similarities and differences between fantasy dwarves and monster garden dwarves been established already? If not, what do you think would be the same or different between them? I'm not really like referring to how originally dwarfs are. I'm sort of just going off the vibe of what my dwarfs or what I feel like my dwarfs need. So whatever correlations there are in between the two of them will just be that way. Hold on, my nose is I gotta hold on. Okay. What did I just say? I think I just blew the fucking memories out of my brain. What I mean is like the most obvious correlations is they live underground, they dig, they dicky hole. They do that. They have golems and like craft things and stuff like that. So I'd say they are like similar in essence, but then maybe the little details are where they differ, where dwarves are very I sort of when I picture classic fantasy dwarfs, they're very closed in to themselves, and their hoards and their mining and crafting. But my dwarves, I was thinking for them to be more like very open and welcome to people joining them for feasts and grogs, So they love sharing their culture and stuff like that more. So they're like that. They just call random strangers over to have conversations and stuff like that. Very open, Yeah. And also my dwarfs get very high. So that can be something, I guess. But yeah, there you go. That's the try of the first pattern. Let's play around a little more. Did I just... There you go. Okay. Can a human date a dwarf? I don't think they'd be interested in that. I don't think they would be interested in that. Unless you're like, unless you yourself are a mine shaft, I don't think a dwarf would be interested in you. You could put, oh my god, people are writing fucking paragraphs. Calm down, guys. You have passed the test if there's a dislike. Okay, do dwarves have pets? I feel like they should. I would love to talk with an old dwarf about the price of gold or best grogs. That would be fun. How widespread are dwarfs? Are they just few cities spread out? They're all in one spot. They're not spread out at all. They are all located in one giant hive. You could cut the dwarf in half and put magnets on either side so you can fix and match body parts with Skylander swap force figures. No, we are not making a Skylander collab figure so you can fucking swap them. I don't think that would work. Maybe it's already been answered, but talking about golems and automatons, would there be similarities to them? Would there be similar to them in form of body functionality, like just like our robots tend to be similar to us? Yeah. I would expect them to make golems that are sort of in their own image to a certain degree, as we tend to sort of mimic how we look in the things we create. Like, we draw so many humanoid designs because that's just what we're used to. So like, I guess the dwarfs would do the same as well, where they take inspiration from themselves to make the golems. I can definitely get a dwarf interested in my mine shaft if you can. I'll show a dwarf a mine shaft, don't worry. My god, please no. That's not what I meant. That's not how I meant it. How about a dwarf with some different languages on them, like some westerns with Asian writing on them? No. Why would Asian writing be in my world? Why would that make sense? It's like, ah yes, the fantasy land of Ram and Varus and giant pillars, and then a fucking fucking dwarf with Chinese characters on it, like fucking Chinese tourist tattoos. That doesn't make sense. I mean, it would definitely give a whole new, like, confusing depth to the world, I guess. It's like, if it's not even mentioned and a dwarf just walks by you with Chinese characters on it, it would imply that they somehow got into our world and somehow got to a Chinese tattoo parlor and then got a tattoo there. But I guess it would never be explained. You just leave it at that. Just like, oh yeah, there's some characters I got in China. It's like, what, China? What the fuck where is China on the world? Like, no, China, you know. The fantasy land of China. I mean, you're definitely inspired by other cultures. Why not, like, some Chinese character? Because that's just taking their language. I'm inspired by the artistry of that country, of their architecture and stuff like that. It's a different thing to just yoink the language. Obviously, English is a requirement because I have to, you know, explain the world somehow, so they have to speak a common language that exists in the world. Otherwise, I would have to teach all of you a separate fantasy language for you to actually comprehend the world in the first place. So English is a requirement, but any other language taken just from the world seems weird. Doesn't that make sense? You don't have a fantasy world and then just have randomly Japanese in that world. Just their language, just right there. You know, or I don't know if any other fantasy world does that, but I wouldn't. I don't want to do that with my fantasy world. Just slap a random fucking language in there. Oh, not Asian writing, just like people get tattoos. Oh, I might have misunderstood you then. Let me backpedal. I've been complaining about it too much, but let me backpedal. If you mean just like letters of languages in the world, then yes, they have written things on their body. But the language that they write with, I haven't established yet. I'm working on it. Well, I'm not working on it. Another person's working on it, but we've put it on hold because, well, there's other things going on and stuff like that. So we don't have like a written language for them yet, not a finished one. Aspire from Chinese culture like you have. From Western culture. Yeah. Apologies if I misunderstood. I am big dumb. But anyway, let's try some different patterns out. Oh, and also, to the 120 people in here, if anybody's new, I mean, obviously there's people new because the stream didn't start with 120 people, but if any of you want to be, like, want to play around with the dwarf patterns as well, I put the dwarf, like this, what I'm drawing on right here, I put it in the Monster Garden chat in the Discord server, so you can just take it from there and draw your own patterns on it if you want to, and then send them, like, just at me when you finish them, and I can look at them, and maybe I'll get some inspiration from it. But yeah, more patterns. I was thinking taking inspiration from like the same sort of pattern that I'm using on, you see the pattern that I used around the stranger? Where it's like, I keep forgetting what this pattern is called with like the really elegant swirls and stuff like that. But we could try doing something like that. I don't know if it would fit with the dwarves. I guess we'll have to see. Because I would expect that some dwarfs might take inspiration from the outside world, as it's sort of like a fascinating thing to them. So they'd probably like take inspiration from different cultures' patterns as well, in the world, of course. Stop stealing my idea, Simon. You haven't posted it, I haven't stole nothing. You can't stop me. Oh, it's a heart-shaped. No. Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, it could be interesting, but it just feels like it's not. Maybe you pulled it off better than I did. I'll have to wait till you're done and send it, I guess. But for me, looking at this, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it fits much. Let's call this pattern 3. I found an image on Facebook actually, pretty recently. I think it was yesterday actually, that I might want to take as inspiration, because that image was really beautiful. Let's see. Where the fuck did I put it? Where did I... Inspiration. There it is. I lost it again. Oh, give me a second. I'm looking for it. Ah. Oh, there it is. There, I saw this on Facebook, and I really like these patterns they put on the snake. And also just the image in general is very elegantly put together. I have no idea who drew this because obviously Facebook being the place that it is, nobody puts fucking artists or things anywhere, so you don't know who made what. But I do like it. Are these etched by other dwarves? Yes, they are etched by other dwarves. Okay, I'm looking for some more inspiration right now. Got my folder. Nah. Okay, let's see what we can play around with. Maybe it's like, it'd be interesting to have like locations with patterns and then other locations that don't have any patterns. To sort of give like this effect of like being able to take a break in the image. So something like that, and then have these. Something like that, perhaps, but just, you know, done better. I think, you know, I feel like that has potential. I just fucked it up really bad. I need like a interesting starting shape to go off of. that. Hmm. One looks off too. Yeah, I'm not really good at those kinds of patterns, am I? I gotta do a lot of playing around with that too. You pinged me? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's neat. Straight left, curved right? Huh. Hmm. The dwarves shed. So you could either they do shed occasionally, and I'd say like after shedding twice or like three times, the pattern sort of goes away fully. So either after you shed, you gotta like redo it to like keep it up, or you could leave it for three times and then just get another pattern. But normally, like dwarves do like commit to their patterns quite a lot because then that's sort of like a pretty good way to differentiate yourselves from other dwarves. And if you change it, people will get confused. So they sort of keep it the same. Let's remove that. Try again. Let's just try and play around with it as much as I can. Oh, this is looking interesting. This has got some potential. What up? Hey, we're working on patterns for the dwarves. Well, for one particular dwarf that we're going to be turning into a figure. Do dwarves draw the patterns on themselves? Yes, yes they do. Oh my god, I need to make another dwarf video. I want people to stop asking. I need to make a video covering their culture, because, like, then I can just refer you to that. And not answer the same questions over and over again. Actually, I need to do that with a lot of things. I need to do a lot of videos. There's so much shit I gotta catch up on. Yeah, I could also do some hard edges, I guess. Yeah, I have not really been doing hard edges much with the dwarf designs for some reason. I've sort of always thought of them as very, like, fluid, organic designed sort of creatures. Like, they do use more organic shapes. I'm liking this, actually, for some reason. I feel like I need to refine it to get, like, the proper idea of what I'm going for here, but it has potential. That definitely has some potential right there. Especially, like, this part down here. These two droops here. I like that a lot. Because to me, that looks really neat. Yeah, that looks really neat. Aren't their arms also supposed to be to have patterns? Yes, they are supposed to have patterns. But I am currently exploring different ideas, and that would be a lot faster to do on one part of the body and move on to the next thing, instead of patterning the whole thing and then moving on to the next thing. So I'm currently focusing my efforts on the largest part of their body, which would be the most patterned, to get as much out of each attempt as possible, but not to pattern the whole thing. Hold on. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write some text on the screen. Just answering general questions so that anybody who's in the chat or comes in can read it, and then they can get an idea of what's going on. I think that would be really good. A Rorschach test? Yeah, it's sort of like a Rorschach test, I think. Okay, here you go. Cool. Okay. Okay, and the more questions I get, I'll gradually add to this, I guess. Hold on. We gotta do bold. Whoops. Okay. And then if it fills up the screen and you can't see the stream anymore, that's your fault. Okay, did the dwarves carve their own patterns? Yes. Why am I Only drawing on the back. Because we are trying out different patterns, and it's faster that way. What do... Or... Okay. He does. It's why we're getting an Q. Okay. What other questions have I been asked? Oh. Just generally, what are you doing? The frustration. Yes. I must say, if you might have noticed, it is getting to me. I like answering questions to a certain degree, but some questions I've heard too many times. I apologize if the individuals who are asking these questions feel like you are the cause of my frustration. No, okay? Please don't feel like you're the cause of my frustration. You aren't. It's all of you. No, it's it's been piling up over a while of people asking the same questions, right? You are just the conduit, the straw that broke the camel's back, okay? So it's not your fault entirely. You're just the final straw. With its teeth clenched. No, I do have my teeth not clenched. It's fine. What are you talking about? Okay, what are you doing? We are designing patterns for... Okay, awesome. I'd say that's... We're losing him, yes. How's life? How is life? I think that's a question I'm not that's... Don't worry, I'm not getting sick of that. I'm doing good. I'm doing good at the moment. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. You missed the P. Oh, no. What P? Wait, what did I miss? You missed a P on the top of what? You missed a P on the top after... Oh. Pattern. Oh, there it is. Yeah, found it, found it. Hold on. Yeah, the P letter on my keyboard is getting stuck for some reason. Actually, a lot of letters on my keyboard are getting stuck for some reason. W as well. AS, spacebar, shift. Actually, my keyboard's just basically killing itself slowly, so we'll just... One more letter between the... Just, okay, if it's comprehensible enough, it's fine, just leave it. Everything is fine. Oh, what did I just accidentally grab? I grabbed something and moved it. Should lock those down. Okay, there you go. Enjoy. Now there is the common questions at the top of the screen, and the more you ask them, the more I'll answer, and then it'll slowly fill up the screen till we don't see anything anymore. But yeah, I'm very interested in this one. I think this one is good. Um, hmm. I like this part. Hold on. I gotta write that down. I like this. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Pattern 5. Let's try sharp edges. Maybe try a pattern inspired by the mineral bismuth. I guess this is a good time for that then, because bismuth has sharp edges. Bismuth. There you go. So we can do both. Kill two birds with one stone, as they say. Here you go. This one's a nice reference. There we are. Is there any other ones that stand out to me? I think that's the best one, actually. Oh, no. This one's looking good as well, actually. Bismuth looks really cool. Yeah, it does. Sadly, we won't get the color of it, obviously. It's just going to be the texture. And I can't really make it, like, too 3D as it's just carving into themselves. So perhaps it'll work, but we'll have to see. Um, Thank you for the more questions. Hold on. There you go. What else? There you go. There you go. I'm just curious. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Tell me that. Okay, let's see. Next stream's gonna have a Google Doc of questions. That'd be good. I just refer you to the Google Doc, just like, here you go. I can read. Okay, something like that, I guess. Yeah, see, I don't think, like, hard edges in patterns fit much with the dwarves, because the dwarves themselves are very curved, you know? So, like, curved patterns fit with them more. Where do they live? Are you serious? I think you're just joking with me, so I'll... Do they carve all their own patterns, or do they allow other dwarves to carve in areas that they're... It's even if I make the question not specific enough. Okay, fine. They carve each other's patterns. There are designated carvers in the kingdom that have... that are like fucking, I don't know, hairdressers. God damn. Okay, there you go. Hold on. I need a white outline outside of the lines so it's easier to see. Background color here. What is that doing? Oh, that's the whole box. No, no, no. I don't want the whole box. Color, opacity, background, outline. There you go. That's a lot better. Okay, there you go. Um, oh, whoops, hold on. The text is also going off the screen. Oh, oh, that's not good. Hold on. I think that line's a little long. There you go. Do they carve the patterns into the shell? No, George. They carved them into their fucking beards. Because that's where patterns are carved. Where else is there to carve, man? Where else? Oh my god. Are the dwarves dwarves? Do the patterns heal over time or need to be maintained? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I am totally fine by the way, potato thing. Don't worry. Just having fun. But yeah, I am perfectly good. Thank you for the question, or thank you for the concern, though. Well, actually, please don't be concerned. I hope I'm not concerning anybody thinking that I'm actually going nuts or anything. Can we ask enough questions to fill the entire screen with them? Perhaps. I wouldn't want you to, but yeah, it seems like square patterns, at least bismuth patterns, don't work. Maybe, like, curvy patterns with points work? Zipcore, good question. Really good question, Zipcore. Yeah. Bismuth pattern would look better if they curve to conform to the hot jar bod of the dwarves. I mean, perhaps, but you can't really, like, the shape of their back wouldn't affect the shape of the bismuth pattern that much, you know? And, like, having curvy squares would look even more off, I think. You know? Oh, right. Silly me. I should also add what graphics. I didn't spell it right. Don't correct me. Oog! I'm using an oog! That's what I'm using. Oogie! Oogie! That's the one I'm using. Oops, accidentally changed languages. There you go. There you go. Could you do an old Celtic style pattern? Yeah, sure. Let me try and find some references for an old Celtic style pattern. I'd say like, yeah, like Celtic knots and stuff like that. Those actually would be quite interesting to try and use. Let's see. I'll just take this template and then see what we can do with that. Where is it? Oh, there it is. How am I even gonna start? Sort of thinking we'd do it halfway down like this, and then this is very rough, by the way. I need to like look into Celtic knots a lot more to get it right. Which one do I even put in the middle? My god. It's gibberish. None of this makes sense. I'm butchering this, by the way. I'm just trying to get like a sort of sense of what it would look like if I did use I mean, and then having writing here. If we had writing, right? Honestly, I don't know why they would have writing on their backside like that though. But still interesting. I would say that is very interesting. Yeah, I like it too actually. Cuz then we can have writing in the empty parts. The backside would say the name. Yeah. Slap a homie's buttocks, get their name. Hey, what's your name? And then you're like, oh, Jared. Hey, Jared. But yeah, that would be interesting actually. And then like on the arm, we could have a pattern that's sort of runs along the arm, like here, right? Another nice pattern here, perhaps. There's some corners and such. And then we have, like, the written name here. Like that. Could be interesting. Could be very interesting. Okay. I hope it's Celtic. I don't want to get things wrong. Celtic. Not. This one's my favorite by far. Like, the idea of it, obviously I butchered it, but like even in this horrible state, I can see the potential of doing it this way. A handshake would be exchanging names. Yeah, that's sort of what I expect. Yeah. I would refrain from spamming worms too much because, well, it doesn't benefit the chat anyway. It just slows everything down and makes it so you just spam worms. So, please don't. I would appreciate that a lot. Love your work and style. Thank you. Notice you in streaming right now. Oh, hello. Welcome to the stream for the first time. It's awesome. Yeah, I think this one definitely has some potential. The bottom of this one also has some potential, so I think we should go for one like this and then one Celtic one, but I feel like I know what people are going to pick. I mean, I hope they're going to pick this one because I like that one a lot. Let's see. Actually, let me bring something back from the dead. Because let me go into the archives. Hold on. I think it was Caverns that I was talking about it in. The server has archives, by the way, if you're wondering. It's just ancient from way back in the day, written stuff. The chats, like, I didn't remove any of them when we were renovating the server. Just put it somewhere else. In these ancient archives, there are written texts of old dwarves, or just like a lot of old redesigns of how I used to. Yeah, here they are. Yeah, there you go. Okay, awesome, awesome. Because I remember trying to write a language for the dwarves and then coming up with a mix of knots and tie patterns, and we could try taking inspiration from that. I'm pulling up all the things right now. I'll paste them in a fucking sorry. Hey McNoggin, how's it going? Okay, here we are. I think there was another one, wasn't there? Yeah, this one. Okay, so I was thinking earlier, like way in 2021, so like 2 years ago this was, that dwarf writing would be like this. Sort of so you could like run your fingers along that and read it. And like I do still want to like make a proper language out of it, but I'm starting to think that it would be more fun to make it a like a variation of English, just like make it like Braille pretty much. Because then, like, yes, it wouldn't be a true language, of course, but at least then I can make it so I can quickly, like, put in writings into designs and have them be fun little Easter eggs, you know? So, like, what would you think about that? Because then we can put that on the dwarf. If I, like, if we make it like this, I think I could pretty quickly, like, push out an, a language design for dwarves, which is just a variation of English, and then just put it on a dwarf statue, because then we can have stuff on the arm that you could actually translate. Or like if I draw something, you could actually translate that. Because if I want to make an actual language, that's going to be, you know, that'll be like way into the future. But yeah, here, hold on, I forgot to post the rest. These are patterns I was working on before this and this, and I think these are really neat. I could use these. And that's the same one. Uh, but yeah, I like these a lot. We need decoder rings? The hell are decoder rings? Interlocking lines are really cool. Yeah, because I was thinking their texts would be written in blocks. And instead of having like future, past, and present tenses, like there's no ate or eat or will eat. There's just eat in their sentences, but then the start of the sentence will establish the time period. So the start of a sentence would say yesterday or in the past, in the future, to you know, establish when it happened, right? So then we can like cut down on the amount of words a lot, and then just it would be very caveman-esque if you know, I would expect dwarves to refer to themselves by their name as well. So like in a sentence wouldn't start with an I, it would start with your name specifically, you know? If the sentence is referring to you, of course. So it would be very caveman like, and then, you know, decoder rings. I'm gonna search that up. Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's that's cool. You can like, okay. Huh. So like December 1765 dwarf eat meal. Basically like that. Basically like that. You could make it less just straight cipher by using a slightly different set of sounds to the English alphabet, but still used to phonetically spell out English words. Huh? I don't know what that means. I can't comprehend that sentence. Hey Stan, how's it going? But do you mean like we will like cut out some of the letters? Like we don't have all 25 letters. Maybe a dwarf has less letters, and it's more the words are spelt more harshly, if that makes sense. Use the sound instead of the exact letters. Yeah, so like car, if you want to write car, it would be this instead. You know, car, like that. Or tomorrow would be tomorrow, or no more C's. I would say like we would have to figure out what sort of letters dwarves can't say. Because I was thinking that they wouldn't be able to say any letters that use the lips, because they'd be like very insectoid in their speech. So like any B's, P's, M, you know, N they can do N. So an M would be out, yeah. Mm. I would say they would probably have like their own version of a V, because and an own version of their R. I feel like their R's would be a lot more rolled, like it'd be like a rrr, you know? Because I feel like a W would be sort of like a vibration sound, like a cricket rubbing its legs together. They might be able to do something like that, you know? And like a f could definitely still be like a hissing sound. Like they could definitely do a f somehow, and then you know somehow. So they could still do those, I think. It would just sound different from R, W's, F's, and R's. So I guess a W and a V is basically the same thing. W and V are the same. Um, PBM can't do these. Uh, I think these are still different though. F and V still need to be separate because this is just like letting out air, just and then this is like shaking it. Maybe a Hebrew uh gravel sound, a like a like that. So the K is like a harsh. We forging a language? I guess so. Yeah, clicking would be as well. I think like C's and K's would be like a instead like something, you know, we can't do it because I don't want to clack my teeth together, but it's instead of like using their vocal cords for like a K sound, it might just be their teeth like knocking together. Or maybe, yeah. Hmm. What would a dwarf laughter sound like? Like a deep har har? Maybe, maybe. Uh, I'm not sure if is what letter would that be? What letter is a chittering? Yeah, I was sort of thinking like a chittering would be interesting as well. Ooh. A U. Yeah, a U. Ooh. That would be like a very rumbly sound would be interesting for you. Like a lot more guttural, you know, like in the stomach kind of a oh. 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 That's stupid. Oh. It sounds like Oni plays being a caveman. Oh. G should be Gru? Gru from the hit movie series Minions? Yo! My god! Um, that would be kind of funny. It reminds me of Ganda Knuckles. Well, I sort of think like I can't I want some sounds of the dwarves to be, you know, unpronounceable by us, so we would have to like look for some animal sounds that we might not be able to like say. But yeah, like I can definitely do something with this. So we could like cut down on the alphabet quite a lot. So words like construction. It seems like a word like construction would be um very often used probably. So like con would they use st con I don't think they'd use I think they just use t. So it's just contuction. Contuct Contucton? Contucton. That's stupid. Construction build. Yeah, they'd probably just use the word build, but they can't use bees, so I guess they would use. What would they use instead of bees? D. Killed? Queeded? Build or make. Yeah, make would be. Can't use Vake? Mm. Yeah, so it'd be Vake, or if not, Wake. Or Wake. Craft would actually be a better word for them. Craft is a very much better word for them. They could say that. Oh, they can't say bussin'. No, I had an inside joke with fucking Poliostasis, the music guy that made like a lot of the music for Monster Garden. We were thinking that the dwarves, their sign of appreciation and sharing admiration for something or liking something, like a nice would be saying bussin', but like a very it'd be bussin', bussin'. If you show a dwarf a very well made sword, they'll stroke their beard, you know, and be like, bussin'. But like now they can't say bussin' because they can't do a B. Oh no. I mean, they could just cut out the B. Yeah, you could say bussin' without the B. You could just go ussin'. That's good enough. Ussin'. I had an idea. I had to send you in Discord, Simon. Okay, okay. I'll look at it. Gosh. Mustn't. Oh yeah. M does feel well, we can't use M. Ma. I mean, I'm trying to think how they could hold a syllable in their mouth and then take it out if they could do that. Book club, hold on. What if they use... Ooh. That is really good, Stan. That is really good. I can't say it though, but yeah. Good, good, good. M is just closed mouth. Yeah, I guess maybe they could use M. They could hold sounds. So I guess M is M, B. But then they would be able to do B and P as well. That's the thing. Mm. Mm. Thus, mustn't, bus. Because like the b like requires you to hold your lips and then go bussin, you know. Uh, but like they wouldn't have lips to say bussin. You already have Yeah, I know, but sounds can be made without. I guess sounds can be made without. So is still usable. These aren't. Mustn't. Mustn't. My God, that is. I guess they can still use bussin. It's just like there's a phantom B somewhere in there because of our conditioning. We hear the B, but the B doesn't exist in their vocabulary, so it's mustn't, and you just hear it, but it's not there. I guess a Q wouldn't exist either, because then you could just use K. So question would be just question. Could just be question. So no Q either. Okay, thing is, we don't want to like remove too much. Like I still want some letters because like I don't want it to be uh Warframe. I don't want it to be not Grenier. What are the other ones? The other ones that aren't Grenier. The Groffit ones. There's a wonderful video out there of a person trying to, because the hold on. Corpus, yes. There's a wonderful video about the corpus language that somebody made. Here, I'll put it in the chat. You can go watch this. They removed too many letters. That's the thing. They removed too many letters from the alphabet when making that. So like there are too many sounds that sound exactly the same. And it's fucking hilarious. Yay. Yay. Fucking so horrible. But yeah, so we got to be careful. There's a fine line in reducing the amount of letters and then not leaving enough for the language to be okay. Counterpoint to shedding. Could it be that they grow another layer of their skin and what? Then their corpses can be peeled apart to read their life story on each layer of their skin like tree rings. You could still do the same with shedding. If you keep the shed that has your written things on them, you could still have a log of stories on your skin, but it just wouldn't be on your corpse. No, but like in the nature of there being a hard shell, you can't really just have another layer of skin growing. You have to have it shed. So I like the idea, but I don't think we can use it. Dwarf shedding armor. Yeah, I was thinking they would repurpose it into leather as well. Like, what would you do with shed if you were a giant bug person and you're very, you know, you were very ingenuitive. You'd fucking turn the shed into clothing. Have like 20 characters, yeah. We could still use characters that they can't pronounce to replace sounds that we can't pronounce though. Like perhaps we still have some letters translate into a P, but it's not like they're pronouncing it as a P, they're pronouncing it as something that we can't, but we just use a P as a placeholder. They use exclamation mark as a click. That's good. We could use that as well. Yeah, so it's like we will have it be I guess we'll have it be a translatable language, right? So you could just use uh, a written translation of it to translate dwarven text. But also in some scenarios, there's words that are like new words. So or like words that we might not understand, right? That might work as well. So we have new words as well. So you'd have to have a translation of the translation. Because if the whole thing is butchered written like this, like Kentuckton, then you'll have to like figure out what the hell that even means. Dwarves can't whistle? No, they can't. They can't whistle. But yeah, and I'm guessing their language will look something like this. I think this fits. Or what do you think? Because I think it fits a lot with like it looks very plausible to like just run your hand across it and read it. I was thinking different fingers would go through different channels because like okay, this is what I was picturing with this was because their fingers, if you notice, are have like two prongs at the end of them, it would be like their fingers would run along. Why can't I draw on this? Their fingers would run along it like this, with the prongs being together, and as soon as they get to like an opening, they'll like flare out, and then come back together, and then flare out, and then here flare long this side, and then keep closed this side, and then so it like you can read it like that with all their fingers. What? Wait. That at the top is a glyph from the Stormlight archives, isn't it? Huh? On the top? What? That at the top. That at the top. Yes. The top. I don't know what the Stormlight archives are. Are you a fan at all of Warhammer? Yeah, I like Warhammer a lot. I'm not knowledgeable about it, but I like the world, and the ideas that it has and stuff like that, like the designs I like. Not all of the designs I like. Some of them are a little too chunky for my taste. But like some I like, and some I like the idea of, like the orcs. Could rich dwarves afford prosthetic limbs? I'd say prosthetic limbs are quite available within the dwarf kingdom. Knowing how little there are of them, it would be quite tragic to not have one functional. So they definitely like fashion something for said dwarf. No, lips, not limbs. What? Fashion lips? That'd be so tedious. Why would you fashion lips? Just work with what you got. They would they would just make a language around the vocabulary that they have. Why would they make lips? Yeah, but why? Like, from the idea of a dwarf, if a dwarf can make a certain amount of sounds, they'll just design a language around those sounds. They wouldn't be like, oh, damn, I want to make more sounds, and then just make lips for themselves. Because, like, for example, our vocabulary, like, we have the thing we have on our face, and that's perfectly fine for the language we want to, there's sounds that we can't make that we don't go, ah, damn, I can't say that word because I don't have a sound for it. Just make a word that you can say then. Like, they wouldn't make words they can't say. It just doesn't make sense to me. He just wants big lips on dwarves. Big lips on dwarves. Why can't they have big lips? How am I gonna kiss them? How much of the architecture for them? What? See y'all later. You can't have big kissable lips all the time. That is true. That is true. Even if you want to have big kissable lips all the time, sometimes they're just not available. Well, you want big lips on dwarves? Boy, do I have a story for you. What? No. What story? We didn't talk about this. What lore does a dwarf have big lips? Whoever suggested this topic has a lot of lip. What does that mean? A lot of lip. God, I have so much lip to go around, but nobody to kiss him. I got too much lip. Too much. There's excess lip for the amount of kissage I am getting. I am getting a lack of kissage for the excess of kissage I have, for the excess of lippage I have. My god. That's terrible, isn't it? It's like an empty parking lot. What's the point of it? Giant ass parking lot, no cars. No cars. Sad. Truly a sad story. What is around their mouth hole? Who knows? I never want to reveal that, funnily enough. I just want the beard to be in the way forever. So you will never know what a dwarf's mouth looks like, because the beard is always in the way. So enjoy fantasizing about whatever you may think is behind that beard, but I will never draw it. Do they have romantic relationships, or are they all just roommates? They're all just roommates. Like brothers. Like a big bunch of brothers. Or sisters. I mean, they don't have gender either, so just relatives. Big family. Are they born bearded? Let's say a baby dwarf has never been seen by people. What do they smell like? I would say rust. You know the smell of rust? Like that. Not strongly, by the way. Not like to the point where you're like, ah, my god, these guys stink. It's just like if you like really went up to them and just like right on their head, just in between the cracks of their patterns, you'd probably get like a whiff of that sort of smell of rust or metal. Um, what? Stan, don't give them the truth. It's just a Christian Stewart Twilight smile. My ex was a dwarf? Your ex smelled like rust? What? No lip smells like rust. The fuck? I think your ex was a penny. Was he very flat and round? And like could fit in the palm of your hand or in your pocket? Don't even ask. Okay, okay. They taste like pocket change? You mean the dwarves? Simon, I don't join stream often enough. I forgot how funny you are. My goodness. Thank you. I appreciate it, even though I don't. Thank you. I'll just end it there. Good smell of rust in the morning. What are your thoughts on Celtic mythology? I don't think I have enough knowledge about Celtic mythology to give you my thoughts about them. So I'll say, I don't know. How often are you streaming? Whenever I feel like it. I don't know. We're very much behind on Inktober, but like at the moment I have a lot of other priorities. I might fail Inktober actually. Possibly, which will be a big shame, but you know what? Stuff happens. He missed 2 days. Yeah, I have to do 3 days today. But I'm ending up, I'm doing this instead, doing fucking dwarf patterns, instead. But yeah, how long have we been streaming, by the way? 2 hours, goodness. Do humans get dwarf inspired tattoos? That would be interesting. I do like some intermingling of cultures. So, like having dwarves that have human patterns on them. I mean, I don't think the dwarfs would be too crazy about human patterns, though. I think they'd still be like very into their own patterns more. But like culinary stuff, dwarves are really crazy about when it comes to outside food. But like I would totally see humans seeing dwarf patterns and being like, awesome, I want that. Human inspired patterns done in their own style. I don't know how you do that, how you translate that. You have the same name as Jerry. Yeah, they accidentally write, like uh they see dwarven writing and are like, "Oh, cool patterns. Let me write that. Let me draw that on my skin." And then, it just turned into random gibberish. Let's see. Okay. Um I'm thinking it's going to be enough for this stream for now. I got my ideas going, which I'm going to be working off in private, right? Thank you all for your contribution to the greater cause of giving dwarves their patterns, I guess. Appreciate it. I'll maybe stream again today to do the Inktober stuff like later. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope everybody is excited for the figures as much as I am. Because that'll be a big step for the Monster Garden. I think it's gonna be the first thing I actually, like properly sell, like a thing that I sell, which is weird. That's weird to think about. That's something I came up with in my head is gonna become a thing you could buy. It's weird. Oh, I'm gonna design the box as well. Of figures? Yeah, figures. This is gonna turn into a figure. The Crouching Dwarf. I'm working with a company who's gonna make this. The person modeling it is gonna be no, not minis. They're big. They ain't mini. This one's gonna be like fucking. I was thinking like almost 4 inches tall. Like it ain't a small thing. It's gonna be a big boy. Um, I mean, minis would be interesting too, wouldn't it? Minis would be interesting too. I'd have to see maybe if I could find someone to make minis. Will I replace my house plants with dwarf? Perhaps if you want to. But yeah, that I'm very excited about that, and obviously I'll bring you along the journey of designing it because like we'll obviously after I finish some of the patterns, I'll make a video about it to talk about the the plans and have people choose which design they like most and go with that one. Well, hopefully choose. I mean, I sort of want the Celtic one. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'll make a video about it. Then, obviously, Cameron's got to make a 3D model out of it, so hopefully we'll talk like document that do too. Uh, and then obviously like actually making the thing, which is gonna be not in my hands, but like the box and stuff like that. It'll be in a box, right? And I can design the box too. Like there's so much potential for me to play around with things here, like a box and a thing and another thing. It's so cool. So yeah, hope you enjoyed stream. Take care. Take care.